So the Jet Brigade is back, and now they have Devastators and Hulks with jump packs. This is a fully loaded Automaton subfaction with 3 different jetpack enemies now, making things just a little bit more fresh and exciting. Now, this subfaction in general is probably less difficult than normal bot missions or like the Incinerator Corps. These enemies, when their jetpacks explode, it does damage them and they are pretty much easier to kill than normal automatons, but they are just really fun and they mix it up a little bit on the bot front. And personally, I'm happy that the weak Jet Brigade from before got a real payoff, and hopefully we get another jetpack enemy or 2 the next time the major orders cycle back around to these guys, because it does say that these are only the Vanguard force. Like maybe we could see some jetpack berserkers. I also saw a Reddit post where they were recommending that the jetpack Devastators get shotguns, just without the fire effect, of course, because that's the Incinerator Corpse's thing. But anyways, I just wanted to break down this new enemy type and let you guys know what I think is the most effective, but also just flat out the most fun loadout I have played against these guys. So getting onto the enemies, we first up obviously have jetpack troopers, but they are a bit different this time. The jetpack Devastators and the jetpack Hulks. So first up is the jetpack troopers. Now we've obviously already had these in the game before, but they did get some upgrades because when these guys first came around, you could just use a scythe or a dagger and you could kind of swipe across the air and instantly blow these guys out of the sky. But their jetpacks are now upgraded. They have a bit more health. They do not instantly die to lasers. If I had to guess, they literally have like 75 or 100 health, just a little bit so that it's not an instant death, because they used to literally feel like they were 1 HP and just die instantly to a laser beam. But on to the cooler enemies, and the first one is the jetpack Devastator. Now these Devastators, first of all, are mixed in with the normal units. The jetpack Devastators seem to just kind of have pistols, and they do have faster fire rate than the normal ones from what I could tell. The main thing being, just be fully aware that they are mixed in with the heavy Devastators and rocket Devastators. And what I often like to do is use these jetpacks guys sort of against their own units. So try to snipe them out and explode their jetpacks when they are near other enemies. That way they all get set on fire within the group. Now the secret to completely owning this enemy type is to basically use explosive weaponry. Plasma weapons or explosive support weapons easily blow up the jetpacks because they deal damage to them without having to aim at them and then set nearby enemies on fire. Now, there's kind of a cool little thing here with the way the mechanics work. Not only do explosive weapons blow up the jetpacks easier, but when the enemies get set on fire, the fire damage deals damage to their main health pool. You know, it doesn't deal damage to like the arm or the head or this or that. It goes to the main health. And the same is true for explosive weapons. Explosive weapons deal damage to the main health pool. So it's just sort of a neat little trick here that makes explosive weapons the best. It's good at blowing up the jetpacks, but then the explosive damage and the fire damage all go to the main health, killing them very quickly. Now, the best gun on this faction, in my opinion, the best primary weapon is just the Purifier. The Purifier can kill these jetpack Devastators in 1 single fully charged shot. Now, I'm not sure if you actually need to land the projectile on their chest, but by the time you do like 2 shots, you can wipe whole groups of these enemies. You also just get really good sort of crowd control because any charge shots of the Purifier will stagger groups of enemies yet again. Now, both of the other plasma weapons are good as well, the Scorcher and the Plasma Punisher. And we have many other explosive weapons in our arsenal, the crossbow, the Eruptor, the airburst rocket launcher, the Wasp. But when it comes to support weapons, grenade launcher is one of the most fun as well, because it can easily kill these Hulks from the front. And speaking of which, we also have jetpack Hulks that can fly now. And it seems like their heat sink is gone and a jetpack is there filling the void left behind by the heat sink. Now, the jetpack on the Hulk itself seems to be medium pen, but maybe it's a little bit less health than a normal Hulk heatsink. I'm not 100% sure about that. With that being said, these jetpacks are much larger than the heatsink. They kind of protrude over the top and the sides of the Hulk, and you can actually damage them from the front. You can actually easily just shoot a medium pen weapon a little bit over the top of the Hulk and blow up their heatsink that way. But again, the real winner here is explosive weapons. Because again, all of the plasma primary weapons can deal with jetpack Hulks from the front very easily. And again, the best of which is the Purifier, because the Purifier has a really large splash radius. And the way explosive weapons work is the closer you are to the center of the blast, the more damage it deals. So like with a Scorcher, for example, you can kill Jetpack Hulks from the front, but it doesn't have as much splash radius, so it's a little bit more of a finicky sort of shot. And also their jetpacks are medium pen, so the projectile from the Scorcher at least is not dealing any damage because the projectile is light pen, but with the Plasma Purifier, the projectile and the explosion are both medium pen, and it has a very large explosive AoE. Now, depending on your angle on the Hulk, you can either just land your Purifier shots on top. I like often going for the top of their shoulders, because it is a bit of an easier, more consistent shot to hit. Or on the Flame Hulks, they have those kind of spikes on the top of them. I kind of like aiming for those spikes as well. So the loadout I'm bringing against the Jet Brigade, and this is just the most fun thing I've played against this faction, is utilizing the Purifier to kill everything Hulks and below, but mainly utilizing the Hover Pack, because when a jetpack enemy jumps at you, wait until they land and then jump in the air and hover above them and rain down Purifier shots. Now, I will say that one mob that the Purifier, like one mob enemy that the Purifier feels a little bit weird against is Rocket Striders. By all means, it is fine against them, but it just doesn't feel as strong against them compared to like Devastators or even small bots. Maybe it's the way Rocket Striders stagger, and they kind of, you know, when you stagger them, they like stumble 10 feet to the left. So the Purifier is just a little bit awkward to shoot against them. So I brought the Talon with me as a secondary, specifically to deal with them. You can just use your favorite, you know, anti-Rocket Strider sidearm. The Senator, the Verdict are fine. I just like the Talon because it has like infinite ammo. I can pull it out anytime I need it, kill a couple Rocket Striders, put it away back to my Purifier. And for the grenade, I am using Pyrotechs because with the Hover Pack, I like jumping above an area. And when I see like 20 Berserkers like all swarming below me trying to kill me, I just drop a Pyrotech underneath where I'm jumping, or sometimes I'll throw the Pyrotech and then hover over it, and all these Berserkers are just cooking below me and they die to a single Pyrotech. It is honestly pretty great. So with everything I've told you in the loadout so far, we can deal with everything, Hulks and below. And now I know Pyrotechs can kill Factory Striders and tanks in 2 throws, but technically that is a squad bug where it's dealing more damage in squads. Maybe you're going to be out of Pyrotechs if you're specifically using them to lob them at Factory Striders and tanks, or if you're just playing solo and you still want to use this loadout. Pretty much the only thing I need to worry about with my loadout is Factory Striders and tanks. Maybe I'm out of Pyrotechs, or like maybe you just need some anti-tank launchers, and that is why I'm using the Eat and Commando combo. Now, personally, I just find this playstyle fun, and we couldn't use the recoilless rifle because I'm using the Hover Pack. What I usually end up doing is I usually run around with a Commando, and I pretty much just call in the EATs when I need extra anti-tank, like when a Factory Strider shows up, or if there is a cannon turret off in the distance and I just need more anti-tank to deal with something like a cannon turret. And the Pyrotech doesn't really deal with those. Or the cringe bunker turrets, for example, in mega bases. The Commando is kind of nice for those as well, since it kills them in one shot. So 1 call-in of a Commando equals 4 dead cringe bunker turrets. And everything I've listed so far, we just have 1 stratagem left. You can bring whatever you want. Honestly, this is a flex slot. I brought a 500 kg just to deal with like detector towers, or if I just wanted to throw a 500. I didn't even really need to use my 500 in any of the squad games I played with this loadout. So if you want to bring an anti-tank emplacement, go for it. If you want to bring strafing run to help deal with fabricators, go for it. Personally, I just wanted a 500 kg for the awesome explosion radius, and it's just very fun to use it. So this is my favorite, and I think the most fun loadout against them. I am going to be devising a grenade launcher loadout. I was messing around with a grenade launcher and supply pack, just kind of using the grenade launcher as a primary weapon. Keep in mind that the grenade launcher, if you get a nice grouping, you can one-shot groups of enemies as long as there is someone with a jetpack near them. 1 grenade does about half health to all Devastators and Berserkers, and then if there's even just a jetpack trooper there that sets them all on fire, the fire will burn them out from there. And using the jetpacks against them to kind of save on ammo economy with the grenade launcher, you can fully use it as a primary weapon against this faction, and it's very fun. And you can kill the jetpack Hulks with 3 shots from the grenade launcher anywhere to the front, because the grenade launcher has one of the larger explosion radiuses in terms of just like single target explosive weaponry. Now, I'll probably be messing more with the grenade launcher later on stream. I imagine I'll just use ultimatum and thermites combined all of which with the supply pack, and the ultimatum and thermites will kill tanks and factory striders for me. But let me know what you guys are bringing against the Jet Brigade. I see a lot of people using the railgun because it's good at killing hulks, but these hulks are just really easy to kill with any sort of explosive. And so if the railgun is specifically good against hulks, but the hulks in this faction are really easy to kill anyway, I just kind of see no point in the railgun. Obviously it's gonna work, but personally I wanted to take a more fun approach. And that's why I ended up going with the hover pack. And let me know if I convinced you to try out the hover pack now that I've showcased it against the bots. Because the Jet Brigade looted our old jump packs from Fallen Helldivers, but they didn't know that Super Earth scientists have already improved and upgraded our jump packs into hover packs. They stole last year's model. So not only do I think it's really fun hovering when the Jet Brigade lands, like when a Hulk jumps toward you, lands, and then you jump in the air, it's just like super cool and thematic. It also just gives me like a sense of lore that they looted our old, like last year's model jump pack off Fallen Helldivers, and we have the upgraded version. So I do genuinely think it's one of the best options, especially pairing with like the Purifier, but it's also just one of the most fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.